Hello, lovely listeners. My name is David William, and you are listening to another episode of the Community First podcast, where we have legal and social conversations with the community. In today's episode, it's a second leg of a two-part series. We've been discussing general road regulations and rules governing driving in Ghana. In the last episode, which was titled Road Ready, we discussed mastering Ghana's vehicle and driver licensing laws. We had a senior finance officer from the DVLA, Mr. Prince David Orchel. Check it out if you've not had the time yet. But today, the episode is titled Behind the Wheel, and we'll be discussing navigating road traffic laws and offences. And today we have a special guest in our midst, Chief Superintendent Alexander Kwaku Obeng. He's the Director in charge of research, education and training at the MTTD of the Ghana Police Service. That's the Motor Traffic and Transport Department. Chief, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Very well. I think we can get right into it. Yes. We want to start off by looking at some common road offenses and their associated punishments. So you can give us a brief, discussion on some common road offenses in Ghana.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me give a little background that police has a role to play here because under our road safety management strategy in Ghana, certain institutions are assigned certain responsibilities. Some have to do with the road engineering. Some have to do with lawmaking.
Yeah.
Some have to do with sensitization, among others.
Yeah.
And as has to do with when laws are made, the laws are gazetted and assigned to us in terms of road traffic regulations and laws to enforce.
Yeah.
And when it comes to such, police is expected to be trained, inculcated with associated skills, competences to ensure that those that have responsibility of deploying vehicles, driving, and using the road are forthcoming. And that's why I'm here. And
Yeah.
with that, we have experience to share.
Yeah.
And so far as the question you raised is concerned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of the road safety problems, certain behaviors are prohibited and we look out for sale. And because repetition or such behaviors lead to crashes, deaths, and associated injuries, among others. So some of these behaviors are the very things I'm going to talk about that the law prohibits. And we are looking at certain behaviors that risk our lives on the road, including, first, let me look at the vehicles. If you have vehicles that are descript or old and not well maintained, such vehicles will constitute grounds for police to look out and impound.
Yeah.
We also have vehicles that are not structurally competent. And we have vehicles that are not equipped with safety devices, including seat belts and all that.
Yeah.
We have vehicles that don't have first aid and vehicular fire devices like fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
And we also have same that don't have appropriate insurance cover.
Yeah.
And also such that may not have the necessary permits to be on the road, otherwise called roadworthiness certificate, which certifies that the owner has done the necessary checks, maintenance and repairs and servicing.
Okay.
So when all these things are not in place, it will constitute offense under the Road Traffic Act and the regulation.
Okay. I'm happy you mentioned you have a lot of experience to bring to bear, and I want to mention some common offenses and then so we can borrow from your experience. In your experience, what you've come across, how you've handled such offenses. So I want to start with dangerous driving.
I think dangerous driving basically has to do with a behavior that the driver will put up on the road that can endanger the lives of others. In other words, that can lead to crash or accident in general.
Yeah.
And such behaviors may include in-traffic behaviors like the way the driver will maneuver.
Yeah.
Because in Ghana, for example, under the law we are talking about, Regulation 163 of the LI, if you are in town, you are not supposed to move above 50 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
So any speed up above this limit will constitute danger to maybe a pedestrian.
Yeah.
A pedestrian may also include those who are on white cane. White cane.
Okay.
Might be those who are disabled. The eye, among others, may not see. It may be to a child who has closed from school and cannot judge speeds very well.
Yeah.
So increase in speed can endanger such life. And
Such
old
people,
persons that travel very heavy. And we also have those who may unlawfully overtake vehicles on crests and on hills.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that can lead to headlong collision.
Yeah.
Because under the regulation 106, rules of the road, you cannot overtake vehicles in curbs and on crests and hills.
Yeah.
And so all these things may constitute danger to other road users.
Yeah.
And it's just instances that you may have a driver who also has abused alcohol.
Yep.
And such persons are not supposed to go near vehicle.
Yeah.
So when people are found drunk or are smelling of alcohol, and they are actually engaged in driving, that's posture and appearance and behavior constitute danger to other road users, for example.
Interestingly, under the Act, it has been even separated from dangerous driving. So if you look at Section 1, Section 1 and 2 deals with dangerous driving. That's the Road Traffic Act, Offences Act. And then Section 4 talks about driving under the influence of alcohol, as you are mentioning. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. In drafting the LI or the Act, you can group it, but I'm talking about the behavior that will
constitute the dangerous driving.
When I say dangerous driving, there are certain behaviors that when one is manifested on the road, police can charge you.
Yeah.
That because you took alcohol above the limit, and when it was measured, it was above the limit. That behavior constituted danger, and therefore, among other counts,
exactly. Yeah.
And also where you overtook the vehicle, and in the process, the crash ensued. So there are so many of such behavior that drivers will put out. Maybe speeding, it may be the drug or the alcohol that have evidence to show that led to the crash among others. And in most cases, such behaviors may lead to crash. And anytime there's that crash, expect that among the charges,
you'll be on multiple counts
for dangerous driving. And dangerous driving is a behavior that a driver has been inculcated with to become a very competent driver, of which that person will not exhibit same, but contrary, that led to a crash. So it is rather the incompetence that driver will show that will, as it were, reduce his driving skills, diminish it, and will expose other drivers to danger because of his or her presence on the road, among others.
Yeah. And I also want us to look at driving without a seat belt.
The driving without seat belt is one dangerous behavior that itself may not necessarily be dangerous driving, but
it's also an offense.
But it is an offense, and itself is also danger in the sense that the idea behind seat belting, it has to do with prevention of secondary collision, and then tertiary collision in crashes. See, when crash occurs, there are three incidents or occurrence to a crash. You might see a primary collision where the initial impact or results, like one vehicle hit another.
Yes.
That alone may not kill.
Okay.
There's another secondary one that if you are not seated to the chassis with a belt, if you are not seated to the chassis with a seat belt,
fly through the
you can
windshield.
get thrown out.
Yeah.
And you yourself will become a distractive tool. You'll be thrown about in the vehicle because of kinetic science and the energy that it's. And therefore, if you are a vehicle operator or a passenger or a driver, it is expected under regulation 120 of the road traffic regulation to wear your seatbelt so that when there's primary collision, you will not get thrown about.
Yeah.
That may sustain injury or cause injury to others in the course of the secondary collision as you get thrown out. But when you're in seatbelt, you are restricted to your seat and the chassis. The other one that is so dangerous also as you get thrown about, your internal organs also collide. And that is tertiary. And that is what kills us all the time. That's why seatbelts are very critical. And therefore, it inures to the individual, with the exception of minors.
Why are minors not really? Because I noticed in the act that it mentioned a person except for those under the age of 18. Yes. So why that particular exception?
Minors, it is a requirement that the adult occupant will ensure that they wear. And that's what I'm saying. For the individual, if you don't wear, you get injured and you are injured. You don't blame anybody. But the minor, those below 5 years, they are not even supposed to sit in front. They're really at the back and in the carrying court. But those above 5 years and not yet attained the age of majority can sit in front or anywhere in the car. But the adult
should ensure that they
wear seatbelts. See, the non-wearing, the liability will shift to the adult. You see what I'm talking about? The liability shift to the adult. And so, because minors don't have their body structure well developed and are susceptible to injury. So they are always supposed to be protected by
vulnerable.
All of us. And also inculcate in them the best ideas when it comes to road safety practices. And that's why seatbelt wearing is so critical, because so there can be the severity can be high in terms of impact, but if the body structure of the vehicle is intact, it may mangle. You will be alive. You survive the crash if you put on seatbelt. And these are matters of survival. So we expect that all vehicle owners will ensure that they have seatbelt in their vehicles, and occupants wear them, and then adults will ensure that minors will also put them. And no adult should attempt to put their minors, their toddlers,
in the front seat.
On their laps.
When people actually do that. Speaking of those kind of disasters that are waiting to happen, the other time on the road I saw, and it brings us to the next offense that I want us to discuss. On the road I saw a man driving, these Okada people, and in front of him, not even behind him, so in front of him is a baby, and his wife is also at the back, and they are wearing no kind of protective, nothing. And I want us to discuss that particular offense where a person who rides a motorcycle without protective, crash helmets is liable to be punished by the law. How, in your experience, have you dealt with these type of situations? Because we see them all the time. These Okada, Bolt, delivery guys, you rarely see any of them.
I want to discuss it in terms of motorcycle users, and not stereotype or try to say Okada or what, but motorcycle users in Ghana. I'm saying this because motorcycle is a road safety problem to all of us. Last year, for example, when by close of the year, 2,276 Ghanaians died. About 931 were killed as a result of motorcycle-related injury. So motorcycle is accounting for almost 40+% of all fatalities in Ghana. So it's a major problem that confronts you and I, and therefore its use is paramount, and that's why he's brought it up. And sorry to maybe disappoint listeners, because I will not look at it in terms of offences. I'm looking at it in terms of safety matter. It's a safety issue. It's very critical, and that's why it's expected that if a motorcycle is used in accordance with our protocol in the road traffic regulation, that a motorbike picks the rider and the pillion rider. There is no way that we can have more than two persons on a motorbike in Ghana, and that all motorbikes that are deployed on the road should, apart from having been registered and insured, the rider should put on protective clothing, including the pillion rider. It doesn't matter the age. That it might be a minor, but he must put on protective clothing. The protective clothing at least should have a head gear helmet that is belted to the chin, okay, and then in certain instances wear appropriate boots, and then
not to cut you over, are minors even allowed to sit on motorcycles?
Yes, if he is able to put on a protective cloth, because they talk about pillion rider, and a pillion rider is the one who is sitting behind the rider, and therefore is that it should be a person, it should be more than one, two, and then if you're a rider and the pillion rider is there, what the most important thing is that he should wear protective clothing. See, that is what the caveat is. Nobody is, the law did not prohibit based on age. You see, as we have it now, the law has not prohibited pillion riders based on age. Okay, but they can mount, but they have to be protected. And I know that there are protective clothing that are designed for minors. And so if that is the case, then it's expected that the adult rider who is trained with license A should at all times, as part of the training, know that the one who is occupying the rear seat as a pillion rider is also protected. And failure to it, the liability shifts to the adult rider. And so that is what is it. The same thing applies to four-wheeler vehicles, the seat belts. The minors have their seat belt, except those who are under the age of 5. They also are supposed to be at the back in the carrying cots, isn't it? That's
why I was actually even asking that question, because if you look at minors, I mean, some may be more developed than others, but if you were to put a 5, because the example I gave you was a baby, and to say because it didn't prescribe a particular age, so even a baby on a motorcycle, I don't know.
Maybe the best practice, we then there's a gap in the airline.
Yeah.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because in the four-wheeler, we have categorized
exactly.
such.
Yes.
So I would advise that maybe a single member amendment bill, bring it up. There's a gap.
There's a clear gap. Yes.
There's a gap there, but because I'm discussing also in terms of the airline.
The airline,
We are looking at the procedures, and then what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
In terms of the four-wheeler, only other vehicle, a minor can, if you are below 5, you cannot sit
in the front. Yeah.
But you be at the back. And babies will be in the carrying. All these things are there, but when it came to motor,
there was no.
So you may see a mother who may be on a crash helmet with a baby
behind
being carried at the back. Nothing.
Yeah.
So let's look at, because it's also it's now becoming a problem.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
Yeah. Okay, and a last offense I would like us to look at before we move on is when it comes to traffic direction, which is also another issue. Non-compliance with the officers that have been assigned to direct traffic, and also non-compliance with traffic signs. It's becoming a big problem these days.
I think these are very matters that relate to the road engineering. There's not every road that because of the pronounced use traffic during rush hours, that the existing engineering furniture can solve. particularly directing
the traffic,
pedestrians and vehicles and all that. So because of traffic volumes, there are instances that we deploy human beings to support. So first, with the furniture, it's expected that because of traffic, it's not all the time that human beings will be there to intervene. So the signs are deployed. Some are marked on the road. Some are also posted on poles. Those all perform the same function. They either warn or direct, or they also regulate our behavior. So some give us just information. Some will direct you, some warn us. So those that warn us may be a warning sign like amber. That's all.
So that's actually an interesting.
So there are some that are warning. At the traffic junction, it may be there. It may be when you are approaching a pedestrian walkway, or a pelican crossing, or a school zone, and all that. They may be warning, giving you advance notice, maybe 50 meters to, or 100 meters to the junction, or 30 meters interval. You begin to see the information being given to you. Some may be directional sign, turn left or right. That is the street, this is the street. Some may be regulatory, that please, this is the zone, move at 30 kilometers per hour. And you see the speed limit sign posted. And some may tell you stop. You understand?
I understand.
All these things are there. And some, it may even be a line marking, a stop sign, to stop before the pelican crossing, because amber or red is still. So you don't go and stop on the pedestrian crossing point, isn't it? So you stop behind it. You don't roll on the line, so that physically challenged, those on foot, children, among others, can also safely cross the road. And then when the green comes and the front is ahead is clear, you move. So these are all there. There are instances that this may fail because of sheer traffic volume during rush hour. So that you introduce trained traffic or police officer
to direct the traffic
and override the existing signs, be it informatory, regulatory, or warning, so that he assumes police, a human being assume control in uniform. And that's why you see police officers in white with very bright reflective vests, so that all vehicles, all drivers from all directions
would see them
approaching the zone, can know that
in advance there's someone there.
During the night, you may also see their buttons or flashlights assisting to direct and control, so that one you will not see. The light may be on, but you will not comply with the light. But police hand signal and the whistle you will use, and whatever that you use to signal you to move ahead or stop, so that we can regulate the traffic. In that case, when the police hand signal comes up, it is so authoritative that non-compliance can lead to prosecution, arrest and prosecution.
In your experience, because have you had to?
If in instances that non-compliance has led to us losing a lot of police officers at such duty points.
Can you explain?
Crashing. Yes, there are instances that we have lost a lot. So we advise that then most of these things happen in cities where we have high rush hour traffic. Like in Accra, most of our roads during rush hour, we will see police taking over. Otherwise, those who are exiting to the peri-urban may sleep in the city if we don't go and direct and control. And in the morning too, those from the peri-urban entering the city, CBD and all that, you see traffic police officers going very early to direct and control, to assist, to discriminate against those who are exiting, so that more of those who are entering the city can enter before they are allowed. So these are the things. So we expected that motorists will know this and cooperate
to the police,
ensure that the existing road resources are shared in a manner that will discriminate for in between the rush hours. We discriminate so that those who are exiting the city in the evening will be given priority against those who are entering. And in the morning, those who are entering the city will be given priority against those who are exiting, among others, so that resources can be shared and the city can also perform her functions as required, as expected by the residents.
Okay. I want to ask one last question regarding the signs, the traffic signs, the lights. Is it illegal to run amber lights? I need clarification on this for personal reasons.
The best practice is what we are going to do. As I'm speaking, I have in my hand police invisible eyes are watching you, PL, which is Traffic Tech GH.
Okay.
Where police officers, we are moving from the manual enforcement and caution. We are in a caution period.
Okay.
Where you run maybe red light or you engage in excessive speed and cameras in our vehicles will capture you. We process, send text message as traffic note, take it to you, and you pay online. And we are testing it.
Okay.
Very soon we are moving from this manual you are talking about.
Yeah.
Manual has not helped us.
Yeah.
It has been one of the difficult policing services we deliver across the world is traffic police when it goes in person. The in-person traffic police is the most difficult. It's hazardous.
Yeah.
Every country is moving away. Police, thank God, Ghana, we are moving away.
Taking too long.
As a coordinator of the police,
Yeah.
I can tell you that the one reason why we are doing that is this contention.
Okay.
Because the best is that people run still red lights. They don't run amber.
Red lights.
It's called still red light.
I see.
The red light should be displayed at the time that your front tire has gone over the stop line.
Okay.
Then you say you have run red light.
Red light. Okay.
So there's nothing like amber is amber. Have you said you have run amber? There's no law like that. So when you are dealing with manual, this is what happens. It has been very difficult for us all these years. So it is a red light. You run red light. How do you run red light? It's when you are not able to comply with maybe the amber which says stop. Amber means stop. See? Amber is between the green and then the red, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when green flashes continuously, that means that it's turning red. In between is amber.
Yeah.
The amber tells the driver approaching, please slow down and stop. And then if you are not able because of the excessive speed that you
exactly
engaging, then you roll over on the stop line to the red. So by the time you cross the stop line, it should indicate still red, and that is where the problem is. Otherwise, the manual, there has been abuses over the years, and that's why we are moved.
I agree.
So it is when you run red light when the light is still.
Yeah.
Still.
Okay. So can we talk about? Can we talk about maximum driving periods? Is it a thing here in Ghana that we monitor, the police monitors, and in your experience, how do we?
Yes, in the regulation, we look at it this morning. The reason why I delayed in coming here was because of same engagement I was having with corporate drivers. One example I gave was in 2010. Early morning, Monday, 16th August, on the N1 at Dawa, between Dawa and Sege, where a fresh Metro Mass vehicle driven from Mepe to Accra got crashed on the N1, and we lost 20 gallant compatriots in Ghana, and it was a disaster that Monday. Why? And I was part of the investigative team. I can report that what happened was that the driver was fatigued and was sitting behind the steering wheel. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And when we did our own investigation, it was that he had a rough sleep. He did not sleep early, and he woke up very early. You see, he slept late and woke up early. Based on his age, he also slept rough, and so he was fatigued.
Yeah.
See, So fatigue may not necessarily be working for long hours, but not having enough sleep.
Yeah.
And he was sleeping behind the steering wheel while the vehicle was moving. And he veered off and crashed into a vehicle that was parked off the road, straight flat. He could have come to Accra, but he crashed because he was sleeping and ran straight into the vehicle. So when our forebears put in the regulation that, since the days of League of Nations, one of the rights that was guaranteed in the world was 8 hours of
rest.
See, before it came to the UN even inherited this.
Work, yeah.
They are guaranteed that.
Yeah.
So 4 hours, and then you rest minimum 30 minutes.
Yeah.
See, then you do it. So that is what is in our regulation.
Yeah.
That continuous 4 hours of drive, you must stretch
A bit.
and then do additional 4 hours, having to finish for the day.
Yeah.
So that is the procedure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you risk getting tired, you will be yawning, you'll be micro sleeping, and before you know, you are crashing your vehicle
someone,
or veering off, among others. So it is information to vehicle owners, and sometimes they are corporate drivers. The occupants may think that they are bosses, but on the vehicle, please. The only boss on any vehicle in Ghana is
the person driving,
the licensed driver who the vehicle has been committed to.
Yeah.
So if you are behind there, that one, don't take your CEO there. Allow them to manage the road and provide safety for you in their office.
Yeah.
And so people should not compel them to do things that they don't do. Otherwise, before you know, if he says he's tired, let him rest small. They'll pack off, get to the rest stop, let him take some water. Don't let him eat heavy food, and don't let him, drink alcohol and all that. Supervise that. But slight, light food here and there. He stretches, walk about a bit. It can only be even 2 hours of a ride. Stop somehow, stretch a bit, take some, water down, and then
continue.
You move.
Yeah.
We will go and come, because I'm saying this because, for example, this year, by 31st May, from January. We have killed 1,066 Ghanaians, okay, in 6 months. So, and you can attribute some of them to fatigue driving. Okay, so that regulation was put there to manage human beings, because we are timorous souls, we are weak, we can fall sick, we can just be tired, we can just be weak, we are susceptible to biological attacks, and therefore we shouldn't be so sure that the human being can work hours on end
without rest.
And that is why it is in there to also offer the driver, who is also a worker, opportunity to have a break, because even in our offices, the law of labor guaranteed us how many hours of break. Is it not there?
Yes, the labor act.
It's there.
So the same way for a driver. True.
And it's also a safety issue I've discussed.
Okay. Powers of the police on the road. Who are because I know there are specific officers that have the power to, let's say, randomly stop a vehicle, do a search, arrest you, take your license. Can you provide some clarity regarding these things? Because sometimes you see civilians getting into fights with officers on the road, and it's not a pleasing sight to see. If we know, if we are well educated and well informed about all these things, if the right officer stops you, you have no business arguing with the person.
Generically, you say, traffic police, the one that wears white.
The white,
is supposed to do traffic enforcement, isn't it? But in practice, it cannot be, because there are so many police officers that are also on the road at public places. And most of these public places, unlike in them days where we were walking, we walk from here to the Gonja, walk on foot to go and buy salt at Busunu and back to Accra. It's no more, because technology, human invention, ingenuity has led to vehicle manufacturing, isn't it? So vehicles are here. So everything is done on the road. Even in Ghana here, we are not able to develop the railway. The aviation we cannot afford, isn't it? So the road traffic is the common means of communicating among Ghanaians, isn't it?
Yeah.
And therefore, everything is done. You expect policing to also be extended to such into such vehicles, whether it is patrol to look out for contraband, whether it has to do with looking out for the armed person or wanted person or firearm or among others. Everything is related to the road and the vehicle.
Yeah.
So police may be seen on the road not necessarily for motor check, but to also do other searches.
General police,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Stopping and search.
Yeah.
It may not be motor
related to traffic offense.
So that's it. However, as I said generically, in Ghana, our law is designed for that generic service delivery in terms of vehicle ownership, maintenance, insurance, safe use in traffic in order to enhance public health and safety.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying motor traffic and transport department is there to do that.
Yeah.
But the others that also come in one way or the other. And because of that, the traffic police is also clothed with certain powers for the owner to be forthcoming. First, production of licenses, including roadworthy and insurance.
Yeah.
Under the regulation, so that when the police is on the road, all that is checking whether the vehicle owner has also done his or her bit in terms of public health and safety enforcement. How? Have you serviced your vehicle? Have you maintained your vehicle? Have you done the regular checks? Is the vehicle in the hands of a safer driver? Is the vehicle insured so that in case it impacts on a third party, the third party can also get some support of medical and all that. Has he done that? It's a responsibility of the police to ensure that the owner is forthcoming. Whether he's absent, the one who has the vehicle can also show cause that I have done all that.
Yes.
And that the driver too also is doing what is expected of him or her in traffic. Because there are instances that the owner will not be there, is absent, but police presence will ensure the protection of his or her property, i.e., is driving safely, he's not tailgating, he's not unlawfully overtaking, he is also not into alcohol, he's also not engaged in excessive speeding.
Yeah.
All these police is supposed to check. When police is deployed and doing that and stopping at the right time and engaging traffic regulation, is all news the benefit of either the state or the vehicle owner who is absent, or the driver himself, or a pedestrian who also have right of way. And all these borders on traffic police power, and that powers has to be exercised in a manner that, as now police is positioning itself, that will give back respect to the community members, that will bring dignity to police, that will ensure that we respect and we honor our lords, who are the community members who have clothed us in police uniform to service them.
Okay. And the final thing, I feel like we could talk on end because you have a wealth of experience but we are running behind time. But however, I want us to talk about one last thing, the duty of a driver in case of accident and breakdown.
Yes.
When there's an accident, what's the first?
The first thing that if the vehicle comes to a stop at an unusual place, there's a breakdown. The first thing is that the driver should have, before he embarked on the journey, should have equipped the vehicle with appropriate reflective tapes, and that have 2 working advanced warning devices. Deploy them quickly on the road.
Okay.
And at the same time, you get on the phone, and if the police is no closer, if you don't have access to your towing service provider, then you call the nearest police. You can call our national call center on 191-18555 and then 0302-773-906. Police will quickly move in to support. In the case of accident, you do the same procedure. However, if there involves injuries and all that, then you know that we can also place call to the National Ambulance Service. But know that when that then happens and the emergency comes, that is not the end. The driver has a responsibility to lodge complaint. And the complaint may be verbal at the police station, or at the same time it should be written in the form of a statement. It's the same complaint.
The same complaint.
What you know about the case, talk about it. Know that there will be a day appointed for the arbiter, the police investigator, who was not there when the accident happened, for him to be sent to the location
Yeah.
For him to do the necessary measurement to determine point of impact and resultant and all that,
Yeah.
and sketch and bring that thing back to the station or to the court where maybe it will go.
Yeah.
And then that's not the end. Then the vehicle examiner will come and examine the car to know the current state of the vehicle,
yeah.
to inform the court if it will go to the court, among others. And then when all this is done, the police is also there to ensure that any of the parties can put in a claim, start that process. So that means the one who is involved in the accident will apply to the police, and the application is done when the one who need the police accident report will go to the police paymaster in the region for accountant general's receipt. You pay, and it's an application. You take the receipt. That is the application. You come to the investigator to apply for. If the case has not ended in court, interim police accident report. The interim police accident report is that you are sending the notice to the insurer that the vehicle he insured is involved in an accident. So you should prepare him or herself as an entity to receive victims, to reinstatement and support. So get money ready. That is the reason. And then there can also be final accident report. There's also a responsibility of the police to ensure that the issues and as CID4 also to the victims who are injured. That is called medical report.
Medical
report.
Okay.
So that you take it to the form to the medical officer. Who will also attend to them at the emergency and then to the consulting and all that. And then same will be brought, a report will be brought back to the police, and then same may be sent to the insurers who look at it and then assuage them with some medical support of money or whatever the package that they insure the vehicle.
Chief, thank you very much for this enlightening discussion. We want you to leave our listeners with your closing remarks. What are your closing remarks for the listeners?
As listeners, including myself, we are all vehicle owners. Let us be responsible with how we maintain our vehicles. It's our responsibility as vehicle owners to do that. So in instances, some of us may not have vehicles, but they are drivers. Let's ensure that we deliver the services in accordance with what the driving instructor instructed us and issued us with a license to work with as our certificate of competence. And again, some of us may be vehicle occupants. Please, as passenger, you have responsibility. Whether you are on a four-wheeler or you are on a bus or even you are on a motorbike, you have a responsibility to ensure that you board the appropriate vehicle. Don't go on vehicles that will turn you into a prohibited passenger. You say you are a prohibited passenger when you board tipper trucks and pickups on the bucket. Don't do that. And when you're on vehicle, try when the seatbelt is there. And then we should ensure that we don't also hang on vehicles when they are moving. And also ensure that if you are motorbike, wear your crash helmet and all that. And pedestrians, one day when we board a vehicle, we may alight from the vehicle, isn't it?
Yes.
Please, my last remarks, this is that, and it's admonishment. When you alight from vehicle, let alight at the appropriate place.
Exactly.
When you are walking, don't just walk with our back turned to a vehicle.
Please oncoming.
We should always ensure that we cross at designated and safe crossing points. Thank you very much.
Lovely people, this has been another Community First episode. We've been speaking with Chief Superintendent Alexander Kwaku Obeng. Chief is the Director in charge of Research, Education and Training as the MTTD of the Ghana Police Service. This has been Behind the Wheel with Chief. Chief, thank you very much for joining us. And we look forward to having more legal and social conversations with you all in our next episode. Have a lovely day.